Do-do-do-do-do. Scooby-Doo-bop. Scooby-Doo-bop-ba. We're live.
We got our new intro to our Hangouts now. Nick's singing. I mean, he has, kind of combination of Fergie and Jesus with his voice, I think. Nice little Step Brothers reference. Welcome to our first 2017 Hangout. It's been a while. I know all our legions of fans, Nick's mom, his dad, and Grandma Bailey, are wanting to see our beautiful faces and hear us talk and ramble about wrestling, and that's exactly what we're going to do tonight. Lots going on the past few weeks since we last talked. Team State, Al Smith, Mooresville, Connorsville. We did get results in a timely fashion.
Hey, we were getting them on the fly too.
Yeah, yes. My phone was blowing up about 7 o'clock in the morning every morning. I'm like, I don't want to have to do this. I got to get my kids ready for Al Smith. But
man, yeah. I would. Hey, I respect those brackets, but when I was getting them at like 5 a.m., it was like, ding, ding, ding. I'm like, all right, I don't care about Connorsville enough. No, I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no, thanks to the people who did send us brackets. It is appreciated.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
Somebody is playing with Billy the Explorer.
We got a guest host.
Nah, just something we're gonna have to turn off for a minute. Glad people can't see past this this upper level because the bottom level is pretty
Why?
big.
Are you not wearing pants, weirdo?
No. No, there's a few toys on the floor.
Those were my sleeping arrangements for Team State.
Yeah, yes, it got the tornado Annabella went through, so as you can tell. So anyway, lots and lots of talk about. Let's talk about first thing that since we haven't on the docket, since we have talked, Team State. 1A, Prairie Heights beat Shenandoah. Oak Hill was third. Oak Hill was about one match away from Shenandoah. I kind of thought that'd be pretty close. Came down to matchups.
They were missing their hammer, Gage Kelly, 12 gauge, who's transferred to Brownsburg.
Woo!
So we're sorry for Oak Hill for your loss on that one. That's
recruiting wars.
That's our fault on that one.
Mid-season recruiting wars, jeez.
I mean, he was before the season. I'm sure that's why you didn't hear him say anything. They knew. They were like, crap, he lost 12 gauge.
Nice.
Is that really his name? If it's not 12 gauge, it needs to be 12 gauge from now on.
No, it's Gage, but we call him 12 gauge, and he refuses to do shotgun noises, which really annoys me. Sometimes I make him run for it.
Why do you have a Plainfield shirt on, by the way?
Because I'm always representing the county, even if it's not Brownsburg stuff. Hashtag the county.
You cannot say the county without hashtag the county.
Well, no, it's not official. That's just any county. It's not the county unless there's a hashtag. Matty B has a shirt to prove it. So
that's what they call our jail too. Hashtag the county.
Nice.
It's good to see they have good taste.
This is going to be a good show. I have
tough guys in that county too.
So anyway, back to some wrestling stuff. How'd any guys, I know Nick and I were both coaching and didn't really get to see any of the other action.
Yeah, I was coaching against some guy and we wrecked him pretty bad. Some blue team, they sucked.
Yeah, it happens.
I have a picture. I'm trying to get it up now, but I don't think I can find it. But there may be a how-to guide on how to hit a certain chin-related maneuver.
Nice.
From that match, but I have to see if I can find it. Oh, wait.
I have the video if you want it.
I don't need the video. I have a sick video. I have a sick picture of it.
Oh, nice. Anyway, Mike, any comments since you are the one actually probably watching more wrestling than just the match in front of us?
From the 1A or just in general?
Just 1A right now.
Man, they bring a crowd always. I love the 1A. I mean, I didn't go all the way down there. I was on the 3A side, but man, just the crowd they bring. They have some really tough kids. I think, Dane did a pretty good job in that. And that one, we'll move on to the 2A, and then we can give Dane the business. But,
he should probably do a better job at doing his job.
Oh, was that Chin Whip City?
I don't know if you know this, Joe. This is a step by step. If you notice in that first photo there, he steps with the leg, and from his father, I've learned that's the key. That is the secret.
I like the top right corner where it's like that's Chin Whip City.
This is the step. Oh yeah, Mr. Cicerelli. That's Anthony Cicerelli's dad. Is just like, oh look, Chin Whip City has happened. Look at that.
1A, I thought that the teams that I thought would be up to the top would be better. Then those are the guys that really had some really horses, man. Obviously, Oak Hill, Shenandoah, Prairie Heights. Prairie Heights, we talked about going in, was just loaded with 2 squads. I got to see them more at the Al Smith, which was awesome. But, it became down to like a lot of matchups and what these guys were doing. I was impressed with Silas Allred. He made a huge jump. We'll talk about rankings later. I'm catching a little flack, but I thought he looked awesome. I was excited for him and was it Harrison? No, it was Hardcastle, right? No, Harrison, Blaney Harrison.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it ended up not being as close as I thought it was going to be. So he impressed me a lot. Obviously, Black impressed me.
It was Hardcastle we wrestled. Yes, Harrison was at 82. Yeah, but 7-1 match. That was the decider. It was a 2-point match between Oak Hill and Shenandoah, and it came down. And Shenandoah they got 2 techs and a pin in the last 3 matches to win. So that's pretty big. Anyway, go ahead, Mike.
No, just the excitement of the 1A teams and I had it on my snap. I hope everyone was using the IndianaMat snap. I don't know if everyone was. A lot of guys were, occupied wrestling. Not everyone was there hanging out like I was by myself, lonely. But the 1A brings such a huge crowd and the excitement, the electricity, man. You're watching some of the 3A matches because there's a lot more ranked guys where I had those guys ranked. You would hear something, you'd be like, wow, what is happening down here? Because it is electric down here.
Yeah. It's hard not to get whiplash from always looking up because you hear something, and you want to, obviously you're 3 seconds too late, but you hear the crowd going nuts. And so you kind of want to know what's going on. And literally it's 5 mats down, 1A or 2A. That's, something crazy is going on. So you always wonder, at the end of the day, you're wondering what really was going on there. As far as what was their big upset? Was it just a team that, just got some pins and they were excited what it was? So it's always cool with 1A. They do bring the big crowds, and it's a big deal for those schools. And I know a lot of programs are building around Team State, and that's exactly, I'll get on my little soapbox. That's why I think teams, why we need class wrestling. It's great for those teams. They get to have the success. They get to be exposed, and they take it seriously. I know Garrett was really excited about going, and I know they did they were pumped for it, and they know that they couldn't win a sectional against with the teams that are in our sectional sometimes. So it's kind of one of those things. It's great for those teams. Any other comments on 1A before we move to 2A and beat up on Dane?
Yeah, just just kind of really strike on that, like the amount of guys that you don't normally see, and we come from an area where there's not. I'm in an area where there's not as many 1A schools. I would say, I think a lot of them are kind of spread out on the other parts of the state. I don't know if the region has a ton, and not to strike the region, but I got to see a lot of guys I don't normally see, and there's a lot of impressive guys. I think a lot of them jumped in the rankings, so it's one of those things when you see those guys, you're like, wow, these dudes are legit. It's not just, you're seeing a line score or a dual meet result.
Yeah, definitely. I think it is. It is good, especially for you, because it's not just Al Smith. You get to see a decent amount of Indy area schools. You get to see some Fort Wayne area and just a few down south, but as many schools that come from all over the state with Team State, it's pretty good for you as far as someone to see the kids. Because you hear about kids like Allred and things like that, and without seeing them personally, it's hard to kind of gauge, especially at a smaller school when they're not going to see a lot of the better kids. They're not going to have a lot of ranked matchups. It's good to see them physically. Okay, that kid's actually, pretty good.
Yeah.
I remember a long, long time ago, pre-IndianaMat, that I saw at a off-season or a in-season tournament that there was a kid that was ranked like 3rd or 4th, and I knew a kid from Garrett, kind of the year I wasn't coaching. I knew he'd have him, and then I knew there was another kid at the same tournament, at the same dual event, that we're both pretty good. So I went and watched, and my Garrett kid pinned the kid in 15, 20 seconds. And I'm like, is that the kid that was ranked? Like, oh yeah. I'm like, how was that kid ranked that high? And not seeing kids like that kind of hurts. So
better rankings now, Joe.
Yeah. Yeah. Not. It is
allegedly. Sometimes they're trash.
I don't think. Don't check Twitter. Don't check Twitter.
Not this week. Not this week. Guys.
No, you suck, Joe. Or you suck, Joe and Mike. I'm awesome. All my rankings were flawless. If you saw, no one complained.
Yes. Welcome. Oh, we forgot to welcome Nick to the rankings.
Yeah. Shout out to my guy Triple B though, just stepping it down, giving it up.
Yeah, we should have a moment of silence for he was stuck in a ditch today, so he's had a rough go.
That's not a metaphor. That actually happened.
That's a big man to be in a ditch.
So we'll welcome Nick in a little bit. We'll go on the 2A where the seating obvious from what some people, actually one person, said that it was pretty bad. I mean, you get one or two seeds off, and you can't throw everyone out with the baby out with the bathwater. I mean, seeds are seeds. I mean, how many seeds did they get wrong at the Al Smith?
I mean, the thing to take away from that is that if that's the route we want to go as a wrestling community, then Mike, you're probably fired after this year because you're not going to get every single place right. How dare you?
Yeah, let's not get the cart ahead of the horse here, Nick.
I'm just. I can say for a fact that at 160 you might be wrong on one placement according to your preseason rankings.
Yeah, at least one. Yeah. I can't live the life for the kids, guys.
Yes.
Yeah. It's a tough job. You're not and I don't want to like come on here and stand on a soapbox because I know Dane does a great job. And if he gets one wrong, great, right? Like, wouldn't we want, like, if you only get to make one mistake in an entire tournament, like, think about if we seeded it and only one kid out wrestled their seed. Like, it'd be crazy.
Yeah.
2A with some loads, man. And in the same breath, North Montgomery is tough. Like, those guys, they're a good squad. They're not seeing Yorktown before Team State. They're not seeing Belmont before Team State. And, obviously they're upset right now. They felt like they were underseeded, and I think they performed ahead of their seed. But, I mean, you have the schedule next year. You can have those guys. You can have Belmont early. You can have Avon early. And then, it's just one of those things like it's tough to judge someone off of like Jimtown, I think, was obviously ahead of where they're at, and I'm not mad at Jimtown. They have 5 or 6 really good kids in their lineup, guys that could be at the state finals in place. But I think they went to Elkhart and placed pretty well, and I don't know if that was Penn. I don't know what Penn's everyday team is. Good luck with that too, Dane. Like Penn's rolling a different team out every week.
Yeah.
Well, it's either their varsity A, B, C, Delta, Gamma, Foxtrot. You never know who's going out there.
Sierra, Hotel, India, Echo, Lima, Delta.
You hit me, bro. That's all I know.
Yeah, no, that's a good point.
That was a lob ball, man. You hit that one out the park. That was shield.
Yeah, that's 2A was. I know talking to Dane when we were on the, talking about the seating and everything, that the whole everyone was so spread out that it was so hard to tell. And then there's very little linking of teams together. And then when you do, it's both teams beat a team 48-12. What that doesn't tell you very much when everyone's pinned everybody and that kind of stuff. So it's kind of hard. I mean, it's even harder when you're looking at half a season of data. Sometimes, I know North Montgomery wrestled like Lebanon, I believe. And Lebanon's a pretty solid team, but Lebanon is a little bit down from what they've been in the past couple of years. So it's hard to gauge them, because Lebanon was at Zionsville, pretty good tournament. So it's easy to you can kind of start linking a few teams there, but then Lebanon being down didn't help, North Montgomery, that kind of stuff. And I mean, it is what it is, and you go out there and wrestle. And, the main thing is we got the champion, and that's what, I mean, you throw out the seeds, you want to separate the best teams. You didn't want Yorktown and North Montgomery in the first, in their pool play.
Right.
That's what they did. They separated that. Evansville Memorial is a tough team. They kind of were very much the same boat. I mean, they're so far down south, and they haven't wrestled much north. That's a long trip for them. I know they used to go up to not Zionsville, Westfield, the tournament where we're at.
There is Zionsville. We saw Memorial at Zion. Or no, we saw Wrights. Never mind.
Right. Yeah. I always get them mixed up. But yeah, Evansville Memorial used to be up at Westfield for the Shamrock Duels where Carroll's at now. I think we actually replaced them, but yeah, they used to come up north, and that kind of stuff. Just seeing some teams like that, some common teams, but it is what it is. You go there to wrestle, and you go there to you separate the better teams, and it looks like everyone was separated at least semi-fairly. You can argue North Montgomery and Belmont all day long. So cows come home, and it did. Yorktown was the best team that day. They had Yorktown had to go through North Montgomery and Belmont, and both were barn burners. So with that said, congrats to Yorktown. They won their 3rd out of 4. Interesting duel with Belmont because they're totally polar opposite teams. Belmont's good in the upper weights, and Yorktown's good in the lower weights. And the middle weights, they kind of went back and forth. And I think Yorktown just had probably one more, pretty solid kid. So that was the difference.
To kind of go off that, what I can recommend, at least because I can understand why people would be frustrated, but the thing you have to do at this point when it comes to things like this, you have to seek out that competition now. A team like Belmont or North Montgomery, they should look out to duel those guys, make that thing a big deal. Like everyone talks about wanting to have this huge rivalry. We always say, I guess, as a 3A team, that you want to have a big rivalry to draw fans and do that. What better way than to say, hey, we're wrestling the state runners up from last year, and we got an axe to grind with them. Let's bring them in and let's do it, And the other team may say no, but you reach out and ask those questions. Try to get those people on the lineup, That's the biggest way to get seated higher is to beat those good teams. It's that simple.
And I agree 100%. Obviously, I think Yorktown was the best team. They won. And if I look up and down the lineup, I think Yorktown's the best team. And Northmont had them on the ropes. But, it's one of those things that's tough. And that's no disrespect to either program. And I think, like I said, I think Dane does a great job. I think that's an unfair criticism, and it's easy to take that shot like, well, you won it this year and this year. I don't think so. He takes too much pride in what he does.
Yeah, definitely. With that, the other 2A bracket.
Loved the 132 pool with Manzona Bryant, Christian Hunt, and Zach Bowling from Lebanon. That was some really good matches at 132. Love that. I was, as a fan, that's something you're thankful to see. I want to see Manzona, and he looks legit. He took Christian Hunt to, real tight. I think he ended up losing at the wire, but I hadn't seen him, and I know that I had known there was a lot of hype coming in on him. And he lived up to, that Christian Hunt's a real deal. He's got a couple medals, and he's pretty legit.
Yeah, definitely. So Manzona's going to be right in that mix, and definitely one of those types that's going to get better as he sees the competition. And something like, I know a lot of those teams like Culver doesn't really see some of the better teams like Yorktown during the year. I think they do go down to
Cathedral in 2 weeks.
So, it's good for those teams. Evansville Memorial, seeing some teams from up north, Delta and Jimtown are both pretty solid squads, well coached. Obviously, Jimtown had a great Al Smith. We'll get in that later. And then, I think it's good for, 2A teams. You look at 1A, it's a lot of teams out in Northeast Indiana area because that's a little bit more where a lot of the smaller teams are. And, you look at 2A, it's pretty much the whole state. You have, other than probably from the region, you have teams from Indy, Muncie, Fort Wayne area, South Bend, Elkhart area. Then you already go all the way down the south to Evansville and, Edgewood, who's like just south of Indy, that type of stuff. So
region letting us down, man.
2A schools, it's all big schools over there. That's what, it really is.
You got Hanover.
Yeah. They're a little down this year.
Yeah.
They're a little down.
Yeah. So anyway, we'll move on to 3A. Nothing to talk about there. So
Yeah. So Al Smith.
Lots and lots of great matches, and it's the thing that I know I take away from from wrestling in it and watching. It's a grind. There's 4 tough matches you have, and your kids. I know our kids kind of our last match they didn't perform as well as I wanted them to. As a coach, it's hard. It's hard to get up for 4 straight matches and just be mentally, after. When you're used to competing, no matter even when we went down to Westfield, you have a couple easier matches, then it starts getting tougher, but you're not going to have 4 tough matches like that. It's mentally and physically draining on the kids. It's 3A is tough. I mean, even you take the worst team and they're still going to battle you, and you're going to have to win 4 or 5. You're going to lose 4 or 5 matches most time. It's tough. I know we defeated Crown Point, and we only won 6 matches, so that was pretty interesting to say the least. So, Mike, any takeaways from 3A? Then we'll let the babbling bulldog talk.
Just the depth of the tournament, like it becomes matchups. Avon and Chesterton was a really good duel. It just became matchups, those guys, just and everybody. And I don't want to say the 3A, but like the level of coaching that gets you at this level is amazing. Like you have some really good coaches there, and you're looking around and you see like guys that have prolonged success, and I think that shows how much a good program does for your guys. Like you see some, you see Big Ten All-Americans, you see guys that's won team state titles, and they're in every corner, and you're just amazed how these teams that have these good coaches are able to get these kids with great wrestlers.
Yeah, definitely. Brownsburg looked good. They smoked everybody until the finals, pretty much. Only lost a few matches. Perry looked tough. They were tough. I mean, they're tough top to bottom. I'm sure Nick can comment more.
I did. One of the better things that I didn't mention was that Portage Mater Dei and Pool.
Oh yes, that was a barn burner.
That was great. It was cool because everyone was done except for that, and that's to move on to that semifinal. And that's just like one of those matches. You're like, wow, you have to get bonus points, and then you get a kid that, and I don't think it's a knock, that probably wouldn't have been in the lineup if the Rams were eligible. And he rides Matt Lee, who's, if you have to go Google one of the Lees from Mater Dei, like you're out of your mind. And he rides him for 2 minutes to save the match for Portage. Like you left feeling like that kid won the duel. Like he was the winner, but he lost. But it was awesome. It was a great duel. That was probably the duel of the pool play. I think that was probably one of the better duels where it was like, wow, this is crazy.
I'd put Columbus East and Penn in that argument too.
Yeah,
that was a tiebreaker. That came down tiebreaker, and I kept looking over. I thought Columbus East won, but obviously we were wrestling and stuff like that. So it was interesting. I mean, it was trying to I thought Columbus. You can't. Pay attention to your stuff first, which is kind of hard. I'm a fan just as much as anybody else. I'm trying to figure. I don't even know who won the other matches. I'm focused on our kids and stuff. So it is hard for me as someone that likes to watch wrestling to just watch one match at a time. Yeah. Any other, comments on 3A?
Go ahead, champ. Take it.
Go ahead, babbling bulldog.
Yo, dog, we back. 2-time. Gucci 2-time. Ricky Clark kind of blew it in the finals there, but he's our Gucci 2-time. So we get to listen to that rap song on our speaker that I'm sure everyone loved. No, I mean, it's a good duel with Perry. The scary thing is we see them again in a few weeks. So I'm not done being stressed out yet, although there's some, as everyone knows, there's some drama going on, which we'll probably get to later. I mean, this is what we train for. This is the biggest thing. I know IHSA is the individual tournament. That's what all the school recognizes. That's what the city's going to care about. They don't know what the coach association is, but we know that in the community, this is a big deal, and this is what we train for. This is the team aspect of our sport. And this is the thing we come in and do, and to come in and see, some of the mainstays of Portage and Perry. Those guys have been top dogs for ever since I can remember. You have Mater Dei and Penn, same thing, and then you got us and Avon now, the county rolling through tough. Hashtag. So. The scary thing is our season doesn't get easier. It's not like we've scheduled anything easier. I know we wrestle Avon next week in county or conference. Then we'll see them again at the sectional after we wrestle Perry again. So there's a lot of times that if we don't wrestle well, we can get beat very easily. It's nothing's a sure thing anymore. Especially in our area, just everyone's so much better. and is caught up. And you'd think having some of the studs that we have that we wouldn't be worried, but no, it's not the case right now. Like if we don't wrestle well, we can very easily lose a match, and it's a stressful thing sometimes as a coach.
I mean, and you guys do it a different way too, because you see some teams and they're very straightforward, very serious, very like, hey, this is matter of fact what we're gonna do, and you guys take it to a different level where you're very loose, and obviously I know that you get very, you're tied in, very anxiety related, but like as a team, the guys are on the side, they're right on the mat, everyone's for everybody. It's not like my match is done, I'm gonna go chill, get a hot dog. You guys are very into it. You see Brayton up there getting on the mat. You see, Mulkey's over there calling. And you guys got some horses, man. Like if you guys haven't seen Brownsburg, they got some dudes that lift weights. They got some dudes that I was like, man, these guys are all right. And then you see them, and there'd be heavyweights in the region.
Oh, thanks, Mike. I do lift weights every now and then.
I was talking about Derek.
That's not true. None of that is true. But no, I'll tell you right now, like you look at those top 4 teams, I think those are top 4 teams for a while now. I think you might see a Mater Dei or Penn sneak in every once in a while, but I think with the coaching staffs at those places, I mean, Warren Central too, I would say, even though they're down this year. I think you look at some of the big coaching names in the area, and I think like it's not a coincidence that some of the teams are as high as they are. I mean, if you tell me Leroy Vega is not going to make a team, I'm going to be like, you're a liar. Like, and he'd hurt me. He did at Team State. He actually hurt me. He choked me out again. But that's irrelevant.
I don't think it's not only just the top guys, because it's not just Leroy. It's Keith. It's Pace. It's all these guys in there. It's Derek. It's you. It's all these coaches. It's not just Shutley. It's the assistants. It's everybody. It's a whole team. It's a whole army. It's pretty awesome. Yeah,
I mean, it always comes down to that coaching staff. I mean, you look at Avon; they have a ton of ex-college wrestlers, Big Ten guys in their room, and it shows when they walk onto the mat and have the ability they do. It's impressive.
Thank you for reminding me, Avon. Great staff too.
Anyway, we'll move on. With that, the seating was 1,000 times better. Like I'm glad the coach association take the complaints and fix them. The seating was a lot better. All right, the only thing I guess I'd complain about, everyone sat on the one side, so the other side looks so bare. There's only like Mike and Dane were on one side for like half the tournament.
Me and the county kicking it, man. All my new boys.
To be fair, I thought you just said the seating, so I was like, dude, what was wrong with the seating? I thought the seating was fine. Jeez, Dane. Seating, gotcha. Yeah, got it now. I'm okay.
Yeah. Great job by those guys. That was like one of those things like you left last year, like, I don't know if we can do it. And then the seating was so much better. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, it was great. And I'm sure the worst thing is, I'll give you the worst thing is it's kind of a weird date that it's always going to fall on until they get just a standard weekend that during this, not around Christmas, that we can, always tell everyone it's going to be this weekend, the first weekend in January or whatever it is, because it's hard to plan for fans that aren't, totally connected to the sport. And, the day before Christmas, it's a Friday. I still had Christmas shopping to do the next day, actually, believe it or not, that kind of stuff. I'm sure we could have had a lot more fans if it was a little bit different day. That's one thing I think the biggest thing that they need to figure out is getting a good solid date, that a weekend, a Saturday that will be open every year, and, give teams a 2 or 3 year head start. Say, hey, in 2 years, we're going to have it this day. Okay. For now on, it's going to be this weekend. Adjust your schedules accordingly. And, so that you can, if it is, if it's like this coming weekend, you can, say, hey, we're hosting an event. We plan on being in this thing. So let's kind of shift it somewhere else or something, things like that. So any suggestions you guys have? Any other observations?
I'm surprised I didn't go to the live feed, man, honestly. I thought the IndianaMat tournament, and not to like, hey, Joe's on here with me. Let's talk about it. The IndianaMat tournament did a great job bringing those guys in. The setup was amazing. The announcers in the finals were some of the best announcing I've ever heard in my life.
I thought the post-match interview guy was fantastic. I think he has his
I had
microphone sounded really good.
I had multiple people ask me if we were going to do a gorilla cage there, and I really didn't do anything but watch wrestling. I probably could have got some like real cool snap interviews, but I didn't.
Yeah, you could have used the sick Snapchat filter that was available for all to use all day.
Yes, and lots of people did use them actually. Yeah, no, I agree. I think the streaming, even when I got home, because I'm not gonna stay around because it's a long day, just doing what we did and not make the finals. I would have probably sat and I probably would have paid $10, $15, whatever it is, to watch the last, the final matches. That kind of stuff. That's big, especially when you talk about teams coming all the way from Evansville to Fort Wayne. Some people can't make the drive, things come up, Christmas shopping comes up, things like that.
Yeah, Christmas weekend. You're talking Christmas weekend. You want, people to drive from Evansville to Fort Wayne, which I had to drive down Route 30, and I was terrified.
Yeah.
Loneliest guy in the world.
Yes. So, with that, we'll move on. The holiday tournaments. I'll pretend like I'm from PA. First, you had the Mooresville Classic. I know the Brownsburg Bulldogs were there. They limped into there with a couple Bulldogs out with the flu ran through the county.
Man, I thought we had a full team, from what I've heard. I thought we were at full strength.
It happens. Just before I go on too much, a lot of teams, you look at most of the teams that are at Team State. A lot of them did double up. They went Team State, whether it's 1A, 2A, 3A, and then they went to a holiday tournament. That's a grind. That's and trying to perform at both is hard. I know last year was reversed where you had the holiday tournaments, then Team State, and I know the teams limped into there a little bit. I guess I'd rather have Team State a little bit earlier that way because I think that's a little bit more important for a team. But kudos to all the teams that did that. Takes a lot of coaching, takes a lot out of the kids. I know we gave our kids 4 days off, and they came back fresh and excited to go to the rest of the season. But it's hard on the kids. It's hard on parents, especially over Christmas break and all that. So kudos to all them that do that. Mooresville. Yorktown with the victory.
Yorktown Cathedral in second, and Bulldogs limping into a third place finish there.
We might just have to take the Bulldogs out back, and you know what I mean.
Yeah, we make insert old yellow reference here.
Those things, guys.
With that, some great matches. Mooresville has gotten better each year, it looks like, and it's always been a pretty solid tournament, but adding Cathedral, Brownsburg, I don't know how long Yorktown's been. They've been going there for a while, but
they've been there for a while. Yeah.
Solid teams. Monrovia has some very good kids.
Upper way to you.
Castle was there. They came in. They limped in a little bit too after Team State. A lot of Westfield, Delta, Edgewood has Jennings County. It's a pretty good tournament. And even the teams down towards the bottom all have some solid kids. So any results that jump out that, some guys that impressed you, Nick, since you were there? I know.
At 106, I'm just kind of going through the brackets here. At 106, Bailey, people would say it's an upset over Campbell. I think it's a legit win for him. Some people may think it's an upset. I think going in against Braden Bailey, he's just like his brother, man. You never know what's going to happen in that match. You have to be ready to go. And I'm not going to make an excuse for Drake. He wasn't. He wrestled like garbage, and he got beat. Fair and square in a real match. Didn't get caught or anything. Just gave up 2 takedowns because he wanted to wrestle Bailey's match, and that's what he wants you to do. So he earned that victory 100%. Just out wrestled Drake, who if you were to pick it, I would assume a lot of people would pick him to win that match pretty easily with some of Bailey's losses, but he came and showed up, and he kind of proved that it doesn't matter on any given day that he can beat anybody in the state. And like I said, I compare him a lot to his older brother. It's impressive to watch those kids wrestle. They're just scrambling machines. 6, not that interesting. 13 wasn't that interesting. No offense, guys.
Braden Curtis, number 1 ring guy at 106, not interesting.
Yeah, Braden Curtis is garbage, and it was an injury default in the final. So he wrestled a guy and he got hurt, and then couldn't wrestle anymore. So then we went to the next weight class. Cash, Justice Cash looked great at 120. Things I've heard was he may be dropping down to 13 as a possible thing, which that could be interesting to see. I wouldn't mind seeing that. But Nizak looked well there. He wrestled well. Had a good match with Fisher. Yeah, had a good match with Fisher there in the semis. 26 Slivka and Craig. That was the Carson Willis Slivka match. That was actually really good in the semis there. Slivka came out and ended up winning the tournament. Bailey killed everybody. I like Christian, but he got pinned in a minute.
Bailey's on a mission, man.
Dude, he's so good. He looks so good.
That's like one of those guys that's looking for those big matches. You know, in 2 weeks he's gonna wrestle Zach Donathan from Mason, Ohio, who's ranked number 2 in the country by flow.
Yeah,
that's a match that, you know, I'm contemplating on the fence. Like, should I go down there and check that out? Because that's one match I'd like to see.
Yeah.
38 Mello pretty much ran through the field. It looked like it wasn't close. 45 Brayton Lee in the finals gets taken down legitimately.
Uh-oh.
By hold on. I should know his name. Brady Wyro.
Brady Wyro was on a mission.
Got a straight takedown. Did not end well. It's 31-15 was the final score, but he did get a takedown.
Late for Brayton. Is that what kind of sealed it, or what?
We had a conversation about it. 52 he stand pretty much dominated. 60 Laughlin dominated. I'm sorry, guys. I'm missing. I was coaching all day. I know I should.
I thought the Yorktown lineup in that middle was kind of crazy. He said we had ranked at 38. He wrestled 52, beats a ranked kid in Ellicott. So I thought that was kind of a crazy result there.
Yeah, and then what? Rudder was at 38, and he wrestled 60 against, I want to say, Adam Central like a week before. So, which means he had to weigh over 145, so he could have weighed 145.1. But, yeah, that was interesting to see him all the way down to 38. And then I just know I saw tonight, it looks like he stand was back down to 38 for the county championship from what I just saw on Twitter. So, I guess we're gonna have to wait till the sectional brackets get released to see exactly where those guys are all getting.
Tough room. They got 3 guys that are probably pretty tough that can make 38.
And they have a world medalist that's sitting on the bench there.
Yeah. So, you know, that's part of being really good.
Yeah. I'm gonna speed through these last few just because I know we're trying not to be here for 6 hours. 70 Cicerelli lost to Stock in the finals. Stock looked great. Cicerelli had a great win over Runyon in overtime in the semis there. Stock came in and I mean he was able to secure the takedown and get the lead on him. 32. 82, your big match there is going to be Walton and Gray in the finals. Walton pulled it out. I'm not sure the exact team score. 5-2. Gave up a takedown, but he got 2 of his own in an escape, so he was able to get in there and do it. They may meet again this weekend. I know we wrestled Delta in the first round at Belmont, but I'm not sure if Jacob's going to wrestle. I know he tweaked his shoulder at that meet and maybe trying to get that recovered for sectional time. So we'll see. So
that Cave Greener Garrier.
Yeah, that was real central.
Nathan wrestled in the semi.
He wrestled him in the semis. He's a solid kid. He definitely frustrated Nathan and was not scared of him. He kind of gave him some of the business after the match. It was impressive to watch. That kid didn't care who he was and wrestled well. He's definitely one that I got a lot of emails about for not being in the rankings. So that'll probably change. 95 Stewart.
Don't give in, man. Don't give in.
You're right. He's done forever. He's not getting anything. McCormick gets the finals. He avenges a loss against Liam Jagoff from Westfield. Wins 5-2 there, but falls to Stewart in the finals. Stewart again he looked good. He pinned everybody to the finals and beat McCormick by 5, and it was not close. It was not close at all. So nothing crazy there. 220. It's Scroggs. Scroggs beat Lee Garrison from Monrovia. Monrovia had a good showing. I think they had 2 finalists, and I think the other younger stock got 3rd, maybe 4th. But Scroggs kind of walked through that until the finals, and then had a good match with the Harrison. They'll see each other again in the sectional. And at heavyweight, your boy Ricky Clark, big sexy giant killer, aka Sexual Chocolate.
Sectional chocolate.
Yeah, Sectional Chocolate. He's gonna win so many sections.
Come on, don't throw shade at our guy, man.
He came back like all heavyweights do with 2 ultimate tiebreaker matches. He beat Sutton in the semis and Rose from Yorktown, who had a great tournament. That kid's not ranked, wasn't in anything that I saw, and that kid took it to Biddle. He pinned him. It says it's to 2-1, but I'm pretty sure he pinned him.
They were giving the business a little bit about that because he beat Shaw too. So how's that kid not in the rankings? And sometimes they'll get overlooked. He'll be in the next set, guys.
Yeah, make sure you get the results in, and they'll be in. He wrestled well. I mean, Biddle. I heard Biddle was sick, and that happens. I mean, that's just life. I don't think it'll affect his ranking stock. Like I'm not going to put Ricky above Biddle because Biddle was probably sick, and he's repping my Quaker. He right now he has a win over Ricky, so he has to go ahead of him. But Ricky found a way to win after the upset and get that title again. So he's now a 2-time Mooresville champion.
Killing it.
Yeah. Pretty good tournament, like you said. A lot of good ranked matches, semis and finals. I think the seeds could have been a little bit they're a little shaky.
Yeah, the problem with that is just the way they do it. And I completely respect the Mooresville coach getting on there and just saying, hey, here's why it is the way it is. And some people were complaining about things, and I wouldn't even say complain. They were just kind of making light of, oh, look, this is weird. The number 1 ranked kid's seeded 4th. But it is what it is, and you just move through with it and go and wrestle. At some point, you're going to have to wrestle those people anyway. Just do it earlier. It's not a big deal. If it was the state tournament, maybe I'd lose my mind over it, but it's not. So let's just move on and be adults.
If you're Ty, it's easy to say from your guys' side. Obviously, Ty didn't wrestle, but if you're the guy that should have been the 2 seed, that kind of sucks you to see the guy in the semis now.
Yeah. Well,
yeah, it is what it is.
It's a holiday tournament, man. I don't know. It's not like it's the state tournament.
Yeah, you can always.
They don't see that one either, right?
You can always just use the IndianaMat rankings as seed. I've never seen a problem with that.
Those are correct from everything I've seen.
Yeah, it's not the Evansville ones. Moving on. Modern Day Classic. Kentucky team won. That's embarrassing.
You need legit.
Come on, Avon. Got beat by Kentucky. And even St. X was Union County has about 16 Urbans, and St. Xavier, they were 4th. They were over Franklin and Florida Central. So good, solid tournament. I'll just look over the results right now.
Was he a 7th grader, 8th grader? 8th grader won it at 6.
Won it at 6, yeah.
That's Carla.
Yeah.
He was an IndianaMat.
Yeah. That's pretty impressive. They let 8th graders wrestle in Kentucky because they can, I guess.
Yeah.
They need the depth.
Yeah.
Aces.
A lot of pretty good matchups in the finals and such. It's quite not as quite as deep as it was in the past. Avon limped in there, much like other teams. So did Franklin's not as good, and I think Modern Day even had a couple kids out after team state. It's a short turnaround. Luig's over Saul Irvin was a good win for him. Irvin's pretty darn tough. If you have that last name, a lot of Union County's pretty loaded. I mean, you're looking in the finals and they're wrestling every time. Joe Lee versus Austin Bethel, like 26, match number 26. Lee won 5-0. They'll see each other like 16 more times this year, I think.
I think I have to head down to Kentucky because I got to see these Union County guys that everyone was posting on that Al Smith versus Modern Day post saying that these guys would major, these 1 and 2 guys in Indiana.
Yeah.
They must be so good. I mean, I thought those guys were in the Super 32 quarterfinals.
Yeah.
It's not even a good tournament.
Kentucky has some good wrestling. They don't have the depth like we do at all. But anyway, pretty much there weren't too many big matchups with Indiana guys hitting head to head. A lot of
220 was good.
220, yeah, Larson and Boots.
Burton and Chem. I think all 4 of those guys are actually either on the rankings or right in the watch list.
At what weight? 220.
220. Manny Chem's ranked now.
Yeah,
And then Burton's on the watch list and Boots is ranked. So good win for Gunner.
That was a Indiana heavy event.
We did miss out on a Ripple Henson match that could have happened, but I'm assuming Henson was sick. They have Muhammad Alushin there, who didn't do terrible. He got fifth.
The Franklin kid and Floyd Central kid, they said are big. I seen the Floyd Central kid at Calumet. He's pretty fit. He's closer. He's more of a fit heavy. He's like a stronger kid. And they said the Franklin kid's pretty big. He was just behind another really good heavyweight from Franklin for a while.
Yeah. Ripple looked like he pinned his way through, but you never know what that means with heavyweights, man.
Yes.
They follow their back. They're like the turtles. They follow their back. They can't get up. Then afterwards, they talk about who brought the best flavored Go-Gurt.
Go-Gurt? What kind of heavyweights eat Go-Gurt? Come on.
Dude, they ate the frozen Go-Gurt. I'll call Ricky Clark right now.
They're bringing donuts and ice cream and anything that's unhealthy.
They're drinking 2 liters of Mountain Dew in between the rounds. It's great.
Yes. Yes. So anyway, we'll move on to the Al Smith. I guess actually let's talk a little bit about the Connorsville Spartan Mat Classic.
I would pull up the brackets on track, but it's weird I can't find them.
I got them in an email.
106, Brendan Mattingly had a pretty big upset over Andrew AJ Black from Shenandoah, 5'3". Mike, do you hear anything about that?
The whole year they've been telling me I'm sleeping on Mattingly, that he's really good, and that and obviously I know AJ is good. So I wasn't shocked. You know what shocked me at that weight was the Indian Creek kid cutting down to 106. Because I know a lot of guys were telling me I was sleeping on him at 13, and then I get the bracket and he's at 106, which is pretty shocking. But he pulled out for the second day. I'm not really sure what happened. Owen Sego.
Yeah. Yes.
But that's a good 106-pound weight. I know they said Madley's a real deal. Obviously, Black's really good. He got 2 losses now. Tyson Coombs, the top-ranked kid out of East Chicago semi-state. So I like that weight. I thought that was a good weight.
Yeah, definitely.
Sleeping on Madley. He's up in the rankings now, though. Everyone making big jumps this week.
Yeah. Alex Vidaya. I probably totally butchered that name.
Vidaya.
Pretty dominant. I don't think it was that 113 was as deep as some of the other events. I mean, Conaway was pretty solid, but also, and so was Gavin Rose. But
yeah, Gavin Rose. That's the second time they wrestled, so they've both been pretty close.
Yeah. Moving on to 120, Carter Nori. I totally butchered another name. Over Tice Freehee.
Freehee. Know these Central Indiana names, moron.
They don't have nice names. That was a pretty decent weight.
So much better than you.
We have Pegacaro. I did get that right. Ed was also in that weight. So pretty. I mean, not like super like top ranked guy. Where's Nori?
He's towards the top. I mean, he's top half. I think he might be like 9.
Okay. So those guys are all right in the mix right there. I know.
I keep moving guys all around, man. It's tough. It's tough out here, guys.
26, Jerde and Moscani. And then you also had Dombowski, pretty good weight there. And and Pugsley from Shenandoah. So pretty good semifinals there. Looks like everyone is fairly well separated.
Carter's 10. You know what? This is the one where I said, you don't always get like the Spartan Classic's blind draw. So if you've never been there, I've never been there. It's a blind draw, and I always look for these first round matches. Like that's a blind draw matchup. Adam Jerde, Alexander Struder, first match. That's a state qualifier and a ranked kid. That's 2 kids that were in the rankings to start the year off.
Oh yes.
Alexander wrestled back to the
8th.
Yeah, close.
Yeah, that's tough coming back all that way because that's a long first day if you don't make the quarters. I know that from experience. That's a long first day, especially if you lose first round, because they only run 4 mats and it's a long day. But yeah, pretty good weight. Mascani coming away with the victory, beating both Pugsley and Jarday. Third place was Dombowski over Hunter Miller. Jarday lost to he was in the finals. So yeah. Anyway, pretty decent weight. 132. Ethan Smiley. We did our article a couple weeks ago about him.
That kid's a goer. He does not. He is the energized. He is the Nick Wiesjan of 2017.
Come on, he's not. Hopefully, he doesn't lose in the semis. Don't jinx him.
Come on, cuts deep. Huh? And the semis.
Ethan, don't lose the semis. That's my advice. You better than the kid in the semis.
So, anyway, he beat Hayden Lowry from Shenandoah, who was a state qualifier last year at 113. And then you have some other decent kids in there. Elijah Lowry, Zach Bowling. Bowling lost to Smiley in the semis 4-1. So 138. Bailey Moore has pretty not very deep of a weight class as far as ranked guys. Oh my
Bailey Moore. Beach Grove doubling up.
Yep. Definitely working out with Smiley helps. Mason Winter.
They said this is the real MVP right here. They told me this guy's the real deal.
I've seen him before. I mean, we've wrestled against him, and he's tough. He's real good. You really shouldn't lose if you have a name like that. I'm just putting it out there. You shouldn't lose if your name's Winter. So
they said he was one of the more impressive guys at the tournament.
Yeah, you're a freshman at that weight, and that's pretty impressive. It wasn't as deep as a weight as some of the other ones, but still, you're winning a 32-team tournament at 145 as a freshman.
Yeah, and Patrick Wall from Ron College solid. You know, yeah. I don't. He might have been semi-state guy, maybe regional, but he's had some good wins.
Yep, definitely. Moving on, 52 was Idle George from Carmel with a good win over Andrew Negengard, who was a placer at the IPO. And yeah, Tyler Leonard from Jay County was also in that weight.
Lichtenberger,
one of the 16 Lichtenbergers at Valpo. How many years have they been around? It seems like forever.
I thought I felt about Ben Stewart, man. I feel like Ben Stewart's been in high school for 6 years.
We used to have a show on guys who've just been around way too long, and we want to check their transcripts.
Wine Zappel. Anyone named that?
This was a good weight, though. I thought 52 was a solid weight overall.
Yep, you have Tony Mascani. He finished
came all the way back and finished third, right? No, fourth.
Yeah. You have Leonard finishing sixth, Spencer Bischoff, or not actually Leonard sixth. Yeah, I know the Fishers, Bischoff, I know he was in the rankings for a little bit, at least Newcastle wise. So that was a pretty good deep weight overall. Probably one of the deeper ones there. Austin Bain ran through he probably won his 12th Spartan Mat Classic. He's one that's been around for 16 years. Tucker Kaufman, who he's had good matches with, lost in the semis to Ivan Hemmelgarn.
Nice little run for Jay County in there, right?
Yeah.
45, 52, 60.
Yeah, they have a pretty good run through there. Hemmelgarn, that's younger brother, the one that was a heavyweight a few years ago.
Is he 7 foot tall also?
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, he's pretty tall. He's probably tall and lanky. He wrestled Garmin in the ticket round last year.
I heard if you're 7 foot tall, they really can't teach that.
That's true. That's someone called Carmella.
So, yeah, and I think there's about 16 other Hemmelgarns. They have they're farmers, so they have a lot of kids. Take care of all the family, all the farm. So,
good.
Moving on, 170, Silas Allred pinned his way through.
Talking
another freshman at an upper weight. Pinned Brad Lowe from Greencastle. Is that Greencastle?
Is it Greenfield Central, right?
Greenfield Central.
I know he's pretty solid. I know he has a profile. That's all I can say.
Got a profile. He's only got a couple of losses. He's got single-digit losses.
Yeah, and he got pinned by Allred in 34 seconds. That's pretty impressive for a freshman at that weight class. So
Undefeated Silas Allred.
Yes. So keep your eye on him, especially in that pretty gauntlet of a semi-state. 82 Stamball over Hanson, one of the Hanson brothers, Mbop. Throw that one in there. That was a good one.
Yeah, when you have to say it's a good one, that's how you know.
Yeah. 195.
Just Google that.
90s kids will get this.
Yes. Corbin Maddox had a heck of a tournament, tech falling or pinning everybody through, even pinning state qualifier Grant Goforth.
He's tough, man.
Yeah, and Bryson Ford from Benton Central is pretty tough too. I think from what I've heard, his dad was a former Mr. Football. Some decent genes in that.
Your mic's broken.
Nick muted him.
Nick.
Fix your mic, bro.
Seriously?
Dude, it sounds like garbage.
How do I fix my mic then?
I don't know, but it does sound really bad.
220. McLean won it with a fall. Looks like nothing really close. McLean usually keeps it pretty close, but looks like he really opened up in this tournament and did really well.
Yeah, definitely. Heavyweight, you have Dylan Kane from Greensburg over Clark Minges. You also had guys like he beat Captain Jack Williams from Carmel, the Juggernaut, as they call him.
Juggernaut.
So a pretty good tournament for him, but overall pretty. I mean, the Connorsville isn't as deep as it used to be, but still, you get 32 teams. There's a lot of good kids that are going to be coming through those teams.
Shout out to the Greyhounds, took it down.
Yep, they had a good week. They beat Warren Central last night pretty handily too in a duel. So Greyhounds are getting after it.
A little showdown, little rivalry brew around Cali, you think?
Might be. You never know. Should be. I mean, Indy area is pretty tough, so it's hard not to have a rivalry there. So moving on to Al Smith. We'll just go over some of the overview of it.
Man, that tournament's a meat grinder.
Yeah, it's gotten so much deeper. They've kind of shoot away a few teams over the past couple of years, and they replaced Michigan City with. I mean, they Warren Central dropped out. It was Warren Central, Michigan City last year, and they replaced with Carroll and Portage. So Warren Central and Carroll Portage are pretty equal. And then you add Portage for Michigan City. That's a big jump. And then I want to say West Noble and Danville were out this year, and they added Elkhart Central and Bloomington South, both pretty solid programs. Bloomington South obviously has that history.
When is Brownsburg getting in there? When are you guys going home? I see that Letterman's jacket behind you.
I'm not allowed to make those decisions, but I'd like to because I like to see my mommy and daddy whenever I can.
Yes, I agree. I mean, might as well just throw that in there because that's. I mean, you look at the teams there, and even the teams towards the bottom, they're solid. They're bringing in 14 guys, and they all have some good kids. So it's always good to see those kind of results. Let's talk about 170.
It's a tough weight. It's a deep weight, man.
Yeah, I mean, you look at where. I mean, you're looking. The seating meeting was going pretty smooth to about 160, 170, and 70 was just. I mean, it was like we could see 12 guys. You really could. 5 guys have been to state in there, and then you throw in guys like Cameron Simmons, who's pretty tough. You have
Thomas Pinola, who won it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that guy.
Bator, who's in the finals, who's tough. I mean. I think sometimes you have to make that exception. You can't. I mean, you can do whatever you want at your tournament. I don't have any say in what goes on, but it's tough to draw a guy like. Everyone knew that Pinola was tough. He was. I think when we ended it, and this is not like bragging it up, he was like 17 outside the rankings. But then you draw him out of a hat, and he gets Jordan Rader first round like that. that's gonna, and then you got Jordan Rader, Tristan Goring to go to the round to place. Then Tristan Goring is Baumgartner. Like I don't know. I mean, I guess the toughest guys are always gonna win, and that's the argument. But then why seed it? Then why don't you just do the Connorsville?
Yeah, it was
because then you can't hang out for 3 hours the day before the tournament.
I know even Jonah Hayes, who beat Goring, was a placer there last year. I think he finished like 7th, and that was the big. They were, do we seed? The biggest argument was trying. Do you seed Hayes or do you seed at 8 or do you seed Couture? And that was the biggest. Like, which one? I mean, Couture was very close to not being seeded, and it was.
Oh, it worked itself out. Yeah,
it was ugly. So it'd have been. I mean, you think you put Couture in right where Goring was or Hayes was, that would have been just as, it'd have been interesting. It's a tough weight class, top to bottom. I mean, our guy won a couple matches, and I was happy they won a few matches at that weight. I mean, you look at guys like Jared Swank, who was sixth, fourth. Sorry,
in the state.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, you just look at that top to bottom. You have that consolation bracket where you have Rader, Goring, then Goring, Baumgartner, and that just was brutal. And there's no real easy matches there. So congrats to Thomas Panola, got himself an article, navigated as tough as a bracket as you can.
I mean, I don't know if that's true, but in the article it said he made the biggest jump from 0 to rank 3rd. That could be true.
Yeah. So
that was a tough weight to rank, honestly. And I know, like, I mean, I like when we get feedback, but I just laid Panola out and said, okay, this guy won Al Smith. Now let's seed it after that. And Allred won Connorsville. That's 32 teams seeded after that. And how it ended up is how it ended up. And I know that people are upset by it, but that's fine. I don't, if you're worried about rankings in the first week of January, there's probably a bigger problem for you.
Yeah. And if you use rankings to motivate yourself, then you should find other ways to motivate yourself.
I mean, Nick, you guys just won the team state. Are you guys in there like, I can't believe we don't have, Anthony Cicerelli, ranked top 5? Is that a conversation you guys have?
No, he's not good enough.
Yeah.
Someone else. Was Blake Mulkey upset he was ranked 3rd?
Wait, is he ranked 3rd now?
No, he's ranked 1 now, but he was ranked 3rd.
No, now he's not upset. No, I don't think he cares.
So I don't think like the thing of like, yeah, they're disrespecting me on rankings. It's not that. It's results driven. I don't say, you know what? He was a really nice kid. Nick Weaver, who I got to hang out at Team State. Let's put him number 3 because that kid's just really funny.
So anyway, we'll move on. 160 was a fun one to seed also because Mappus had 1 loss on the year. That was to Wirtz from Zionsville, who ended up not even getting seeded. Actually, no, he did get an 8th seed or 7th seed, but that took a while to sort out because Wirtz lost to somebody, and then about 7 other guys had wins over that person or some kind of connection. It ended up being like a guy that was like 9 and 7, could have been technically the number 1 seed. So that was fun. But Gleason Mappus won over Jed Levitz, who had a pretty big defensive fall over Tony Busty in the semis.
Hey, when you're drawing up defensive falls, that's what it looks like.
Yeah. Yes.
Perfect. Take a snapshot. That's how it has to look.
You know what? You know what the best offense is, right, Joe? A good defense.
Yeah. So go through some of the guys, some of the matches. 106. Gabriel Smith had a pretty good tournament, came in as a 7 seed and beat some pretty good kids. Was down in the finals and rolled up Shear from here and pinned him.
Was down in the semis too. Headlocked Evan Light and pinned him.
Yeah, he was. Got a late headlock. That was pretty good. So good tournament for him. The 113 final was really good. Kevin on Watts.
Yeah.
That came down. Watts got a good takedown late, and Toontown had a really good tournament, top to bottom. They had some tough kids. They had 2 champs, another runner-up.
We'll get to the other guy, right?
Beating Kavanaugh's a pretty good win for Watts. Watts was the one that did not place, am I right? Or was it Whitman? I always get them two mixed up. Did Watts place last year at State?
What's up?
Did Watts place at State last year?
Yeah, Watts is a state placer. Kavanaugh beat him at Elkhart.
Okay.
Clean cut, man.
Yep.
I just got a distasteful text.
Uh-oh. 120.
Those are disgusting.
Another loaded weight, Tyler Triana.
Yeah.
Beat both Mejia. Beat him at Scholastic Duels when he was wrestling for the Girls. Just got put that plug out. And then beat Caden Rooks in the finals. That was a good match. Another great one. And then Rooks took out Pointer in the semis. Pointer seems to have Triana's number. That's a very interesting. That's good. They're going to meet up at what, regional and possibly
Sectional, regional, possibly semi-state.
Yeah. So
that was a good weight though. That's 4 really tough kids.
yeah, that's 4 that could be the state semis. There's no question that could be state semis right there.
I think there's a kid from Evansville. He's pretty good too. 2 kids from Evansville.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll make their marks, but those Brooks is pretty tough. Pointer's obviously tough, and Triana and good weight. 126. Cummings coming back from his ACL surgery. Lost to Rooks in the finals. Good weight.
Yeah.
I like Colton. He's a good kid, and you didn't want to see him lose, but at the same time, it was Rooks deserved to win. Cummings, he looked rusty. He looked like he hadn't been on the. I mean, he'd been on the mat, but you have to. I mean, it's your first tournament back. That's not an easy one to go through.
No, really one mistake, man. He really just made one mistake in that match.
Yeah.
Great kid. Graham Rook's awesome match for him. Those Rooks guys, man, they're putting offense on you, offense on you, offense on you, offense on you. If you're not ready to defend shots, good luck. Those guys are gonna shoot. I bet he shot 30 shots in that match.
Yeah, he did. He was Cummings. If I had to get he draws a life to get him detached from his legs. So and Rooks took out De La Pena in the
yeah, that was a good match too.
Yeah, another good match. 2 guys. I mean, that's another one of those. Look at the semis. You have throwing Becker against Cummings. That could easily.
Someone throwing some shade on the message board saying that Graham Rooks dominated De La Pena. I thought it was a questionable takedown. I'm not an official. I've never taken any tests, but I thought the scramble kind of went through. So to say he's got dominated, I don't even know if that guy was there.
No. So you think of those 4, that could easily be a state semifinals right there, especially because everyone there is from.
Sleeping on Brownsburg again. Dang, Nick.
I know.
Blake Mulkey's really good, guys.
Yeah.
He's got really good hair.
His hair is on fleek.
I was saying, it's one of those things. You look at those semis; those are pretty darn good semis.
Okay.
Oh, they are really good semis.
All I heard from Joe is I don't want Blake to wrestle on the Gorillas this year. That's all I just heard.
Oh! I already got him signed. I already have him signed the contract.
So I'm just telling you what I heard from your mouth.
Hey, Connor Gibson put on a show. That kid was on fire.
Yes.
He spladled. Got him a spladle for Jack Tolan. Twice. I said, I can't believe he spladled him. Oh, Jack got out, and then he re-upped it and spladled him again.
Yeah, then we beat Combats in the finals 5-4.
Hey.
He's a spladle.
Maldonado Magic right here, and I'm going to butcher this name, and I'm sure Paul will send it to me. Azar Yersi. That kid battled. That kid was good.
Yeah, he finished? 3rd?
I don't know. Did he finish 4th?
4th, yeah. Good tournament for him.
Yeah, Miguel Prado, 7th, was ranked for all the rankings.
Oh, yes.
Zane Standridge, nice job by him. Nice job for a lot of you guys. You guys wrestle tough, man. I know it's not good to talk up your own squad, but I was impressed with the Carroll Superchargers there.
Real quick, all I want to say about Maldonado, big shock. Some kid I've never heard of is doing really well from Maryville, because Maldonado always does that every year, regardless. Just some random kid comes out and is just a monster. You're like, who is this kid?
That's the kid this year, man. I was that kid wrestled really well against Portage. He lost to Prado in overtime and come out and just win these 2-1, 1-0 matches at the Al Smith. It's crazy.
If I have to guess, he has a really good cradle.
He didn't cradle anybody, man.
What? That's not a Maryville kid then.
Hey, don't worry. Second half of the season, I think that's when they teach that.
Nice. Moving
38.
on.
Little disappointed. Brendan got pulled for injury. Hopefully he's all right. We haven't really talked to him too much, but that's tough. I want to see him and Rumpf again because at the Harvest Classic, that was a great match.
Yep, definitely. So that was a good weight. Another solid weight. Rumpf over main speaker was very, very anticlimactic compared to what everyone was hoping it to be. You know that Hobart and I didn't say it right, and Portage aren't they aren't going to exchange Christmas cards.
Nah, I don't think so.
What about Crown Point and Portage?
Yeah, those guys are probably loving each other. They wrestle this weekend.
So geez, that'll be fun. 145, Casper McIntosh over Bradley Rassler. Good match there. McIntosh pretty dominating. One of the better kids. I mean, he's definitely pretty tough there.
Good quarterfinal here, though. I know we've been talking about some semis, but this quarterfinal, Riley Rassler, Blake Webb, Joel Arney knocking off Jason Crary, Dante Colesy get knocked off by Malik Hoover, and McIntosh over Pollitt. That's a good quarterfinal. Those are all ranked guys or at the rankings guys. I think Malik could fall out.
Yeah, definitely there's some good weights and there are good matches there and a couple upsets to boot there. 52, that was pretty good semis there. You had Curran and Breathitt, who are both undefeated. Logan Coyle and Kyle Hatch. I mean, I'm gonna assume Coyle might have been undefeated at that time too. I don't know.
Nick, did you wanna throw some shade at Daniel Hatch, or not Daniel Hatch, but Kyle Hatch?
Well, Daniel Hatch is a terrible human being, and his spawn Kyle might as well go home because no one likes him. He is not fun or a good person.
I feel like the message board's been really getting off this week. It's been really good, and I thought people thought Nick was taking a shot at McIntosh, which I know he wasn't because I know him and Hatch, and people are like, "Man, Nick's been really catching it this week." Honestly,
I've been catching it. I caught it when I made fun of Tyler and Andy Wool, and some dude yelled at me.
Yeah,
I don't even know you. You didn't get out of the regional. Why are you yelling at me?
They're like, "You wish you had that career." Like, dang man, like savages out here this week.
I was like, I did okay. I have a cat. She's nice. Sometimes she poops on herself.
But yeah, so if you guys read the board, it was at Hatch. They're buddies. They like each other. Sloth taking it down.
Yeah, I also love Kearney. Oh, I love Kearney too.
Kern and Jim Hatch was a good match. You know, they both are very similar in style and build. So I thought it might be a little bit higher scoring match because I know they both put some points on the board. But Kern over Breathitt in the semis, that was another good one. Hatch is pretty tough. You know,
he's tough.
Yeah, excited to see what he does. You know, hopefully his dad will get off the message board. Excuse me.
He's trying to be a board legend. Warsaw Wrestling's board legend.
Oh, dude, I'll get you that. Daniel, if he blocks you, let me know. I'll take care of it.
Yeah. Already talked about 62 and 70. 82. Davison over Blakely. That was a good match. Blakely's pretty tough. I think Blakely got the first takedown. Davison just kind of overwhelmed him. Davison style.
We didn't talk about the Monrovia kid. He beat Blakely at IHSAA. I didn't see the match, but I mean, if you're beating Blakely looked good, man.
He had a good tournament. Pretty good weight there. Faulkner from Mishawaka looked pretty solid, I think. Well, I guess he didn't finish third. Yeah, fourth. But
the consolation matches there were crazy because that Sidlow Hill match was really good, and then that Faulkner match tied it up with we didn't talk about 170, and I want to go back to that. They hit a stall to tie this match up, the consolation match, but Hill got a takedown in overtime. I was shocked when they hit Fator for a stall to tie it up in that match. But hey, and I'm not gonna lie, he was stalling. Like he was stalling, he was tired. And then I was talking to someone, I said, man, if they found out that kid had like pneumonia, I wouldn't be shocked. And then Henry Wilk, boom, busted with a stalling when he was going back to the middle because he was going too slow. I don't know if I've ever seen a stall that send it to overtime. You're not going like fast enough to the middle. I'm gonna bust you again.
I've seen that one time, and that was at the Midwest Classic when I was in college. Mason True got hit with that. It was not a fun day in the Roughneck Wrestling Room the next day.
Yeah, that was a interesting. I've never seen a stall, a match end on the stall call right there before overtime even started.
Overtime didn't start. And like I said, like Fator came out gangbusters, man. He's takes him down. I'm thought he was about to turn him. I'm like, wow, Fator is on fire, and then he just kind of hit a wall. And I don't know if it was an adrenaline drop. I don't want to speculate. I don't know if he's injured, but he started crawling back to the middle. I've never seen anyone crawl back to the middle. I'm not like dogging the kid, but like I've never seen
wait. That's how the finals match went?
Yes.
Yeah.
How did no one get murdered at that event?
Dude, they were reaching for stalling the whole time. So Pinola comes all the way back, and he's down one, and he's just pushing him out of bounds. And Fator's taking the longest route back, and his coach is like, get back. Boom, Henry hits him for stall, ties it up. He's like sitting on the mat, like shocked, like, did they just hit me for stalling? Taking his time again, boom, hits him again. I said, dude, they asked, I thought he hurt his foot in the match, and this is one of the craziest things I've ever heard. He asked the official if he could take his shoe off because his sock was rolled up weird underneath. And they didn't know what to do. They had to give him like the injury time to take his shoe off to adjust his sock.
Well, the story is do not mess with Henry Wilk. Mishawaka's first 98 pounds.
For as much, and I'm not dogging the officials that were at the IndianaMat or the IHSWCA team state, but I thought those guys were stalling, and I'm like, hey, these guys probably could hit these guys. Henry Wilk did enough stalling calls in that final match to make up for 2 weeks before, the week before.
Yeah.
He had a round to play. He had to get going. He's like, come on, guys.
Yeah. And obviously, as a fan, like I'm not – Zach Fator is better than I'll probably ever be. But obviously he is because I'm never going to get better. I'm actually in the decline of my life. I peaked, and now I'm on the decline. So I'm not – it's not a disrespectful thing. It was just a wild match. You don't always see that.
Yeah, definitely. That was just wild. And you always get wild matches at the Ultimate. It's a long grind. It's a lot of mental more than anything, really. Once you get semis, finals, especially consolations, and it's mentally and physically. So,
yeah, craziness.
Moving
95.
on.
Sorry, I had to backtrack on that. That was in my mind. That's just a good story. I thought that was exciting.
Yeah, Davison, Eli's final. That was Davison just mauled Eli, which, I mean, it wasn't unexpected. Davison's pretty tough. Davison pinned Hankinson in the semis, which was pretty. I mean, both those guys, I think they lift weights. I'm just gonna
like not a close pin. It wasn't like, hey, I caught you in a scramble and pinned you. He said, hey, I'm here to not play games. I'm killing guys.
The period's almost over. I'm going to pin you now.
Yeah. Just killed it. Andrew looked awesome.
Yeah, you don't see Hankinson get horsed around like that.
No.
Looks like Hankinson, and it was like, wow, and I know I was standing beside one of the more colorful radio personalities from Belmont, and he was just like dumbfounded. He's like, that kid's a monster, and that's what Davison did to Hankinson is probably legal in at least 12 states.
I forgot we're going to be on the radio this week, and I'm so excited. I'm bringing my radio voice.
220, Eli Picorni, pretty dominating performance. Wasn't really touched. Pins.
Do you want me to break down this match or no?
Nah, we're good. We'll stick with Picorni. Is pretty dominant.
It seems like it sounds like this tournament really bit you in the butt there.
Maybe.
He looks so happy right now, but I can read you about 8 texts that were not as happy as he is right now.
It's weird what the holidays will do for you.
Yes. We'll just go on more happier times. 285. I'll let Mike comment on 285 and Nick maybe.
285's kid got beat by Ricky Clark. That's all I'm saying.
Hold on 1 second. What 285? 285 was an absolute mess. I can't even rank that thing. I'm calling names.
How's you guys put Lawson number 1? I can help you.
No, he'd be number 2. Ricky would be number 1, and he would be number 2 because Ricky pinned Lawson.
I seen Joe the happiest. I wasn't there at his wedding. I don't know how he reacted when he had his children. But when Jesse Lawson beat Robert Samuels, this guy jumped out the gym. Joe, he doesn't look like it. I'm talking 10-foot bunnies. This dude could dunk.
My boy's got a V. He can get up on that y-axis. That's vertical for those who don't know math.
It was a good match. I got a little into it. Maybe I get a little excited once in a while, but definitely good for Jesse because he's lost to Robert about 16 times, it seems, in the past couple of years. And,
yeah, Jesse wrestled well because I thought, he beat Robert. Now he's going to have Little Streck, and Little Streck had been on fire. And then he went out there and got a fall there too. So he wrestled out of his mind.
He wrestled. You could say he wrestled outstanding.
I left. I had a nice little ride home. I had the girls. Did you guys get the most falls?
Yes, that took a little persuading.
Why don't we do an OW there? And Nick, you're an alum.
We never did OW, or if we did, I never won it, so I never cared because I was with Harper, and I'm never going to win it in that. What? I pin people?
Anyway, well.
Tell them the time when you beat Galka, first high school loss.
Oh, my God. All right. So I woke up that morning. I took a shower. I took a T-shirt, and I put a really bad iron-on graphic on it. And then that defined me as a wrestler for the rest of.
And then you got this job.
I hate you.
Oh, you were talking? Anyway, I think from what I remember, kind of, they used to give an outstanding wrestler voted on by coaches. And I think some of their shenanigans played into place plus years ago. And then, so now they give it to the championship wrestler who has the most falls in the least amount of time. But I guess it kind of doesn't mean the champion. And so I had to persuade them, and the kid that would have won it was already left the building. So
did you throw some weight around? Say, hey, I run this website in Indiana. You might have heard of it.
I was like, how do you not give the outstanding wrestler to a champion versus a non-champion? So, and
that's not what he did. He had Ann Weeschun come in and said, I'm a former school board president, and I demand it go to Jesse.
Yes.
I'm Ann Weeschun. I approve this message.
Yeah.
Hi, Mom.
It was interesting. Hopefully they'll change that to say championship wrestler. And last year I remember Drew, he pinned all 5 guys. So, and Sean Streck won 2 in a row, I believe. I think he won 2 of them. And he got a injury default in the first round. So he wasn't technically eligible even if he pinned his guy in like 2 seconds for the award because he had only had 4 pins. So he ended up tech balling this guy in the finals. He was so mad. And I didn't find out till later that that's why he was going after the tech ball, because he was mad that Drew already had it locked up, and which, it is what it is. I think they could probably have a vote by, smart people like me and Mike, and we could kind of figure out who the outstanding wrestler was.
I'll get 5/3 of a vote.
I got to do the Italian for the Harvest Classic, and then you see like some of the people are walking up before the finals like, hey, we got our outstanding wrestler for you. How? This guy's not even in the finals. How did he get an outstanding wrestler vote?
Yeah.
He's a really nice guy.
Yeah, add on to that, a lot of people are going to turn him in after 52, 60, whatever. And so the bigger guys kind of get a little bit of the shaft. And that, say Lawson, as an example, 4 seed comes out, pins everybody. Everyone's already turned in their stuff. They think, they're thinking whoever was, outstanding, they're like, wow, Lawson just pinned everybody. I want to change that vote, but they already submitted it for whoever, whether they're just as good or not. But that's always kind of one of those things that, the fun stuff with wrestling tournaments, outstanding wrestler. I'm glad they kind of do it like that. That way you don't, kids aren't getting.
If you got to pick an OW right now, who do you pick? No thinking, just go.
I'm probably saying Panola had unseeded to championship in the toughest weight, so I can't.
I say Graham Rooks, 4 seed. 3 seed, 2 seed, knocking off Pitt De La Pena. Colton Cummings going for a 4th title.
You mean Okay, yeah, Graham. I was thinking Cade. Yeah.
All I know is I didn't win an outstanding wrestle when I knocked off never been beaten Eric Galka and then beat returning state placer Steve Salinas in overtime on the finals. Both matches can be found on youtube.com/NikkiDub01.25. Thank you.
So
I
anyway,
was there that day, hiding a young on the
Yeah.
rise 219.
anyway, let's get back to any other wrap up from the Alice.
Great team win by Portage. You know, the region did well. Maryville did well. Maryville dropping a weight looked really well. I don't think they had any chance, but they had a lot of guys that were really tough. What did Chesterton end up placing third? I know that's sore, but I'm being serious. Fourth?
No, they were fourth. Compass East was third. They had the champ and a couple finalists. Yeah, that's pretty good. They're tough. They have their horses and they have some pretty good kids that back them up. I know. And Chesterton has their horses, obviously.
Yeah.
And they didn't have Lemley. Lemley, I do not believe.
Nah, they scratched him for ringworm on his wrist or something. They had doctor's note for.
Hey, Diego, take a shower, bro.
They said
Yeah.
they scratched Diego Lemley because he had a doctor's note, and the trainer said, "Nah, we ain't gonna honor that."
Yeah, they have a doctor there, so I've been through that there last year. So I don't know. I didn't see it, so I can't comment other than I know that I'm pretty certain they have a doctor there that, if it looks like it's bad, those refs are gonna, that many teams and stuff, they're gonna try to prevent it as much as possible. And
It's a contact sport. Let them do it.
Was it as bad? Was it as bad as the Disney skin checks, Joe?
no.
For those who haven't been to the Disney duels, you have to lift everything up at the Disney duels so they can check every square inch of your body. They might as well have a flashlight and a rubber glove while they're at it.
They do the coaches too.
Yeah, coaches too. For some, we don't know why, because we're gonna be on the mats. It's weird.
Yes.
I just want you guys to remember the Magical Kingdom.
Yes.
To be fair, I really enjoyed mine, but a lot of people didn't.
Yeah.
I like how he steered the camera right there. Nice angle. That was great.
Hey guys.
Yeah, so it was so I mean, without Lemley, I'm sure with Lemley, I'm sure they're a top 3 team, and they might. I don't know how. I don't have it pulled up, but I don't know if they'd be able to catch Maryville or not. But they might have, because Lemley is probably top 2 or 3 at the very worst case scenario at one.
Yeah, he's tough.
Yeah, so
Get a dope Barry Bonds jersey. If you're not a Barry Bonds fan, sorry, but it was pretty cool.
Yeah, so
was it Pirates or Giants? Or no, he wasn't a Pirate, was he? Who did he play for?
Yeah, he was. He played for the Pirates when he started off, but it was a Giants one.
Oh, okay. Well, who cares? Came to the party late.
So with that, and then just got an ad there. And then after it was Chesterton, then Carroll. We had 8 placers, which is pretty good. I was impressed with our guys. I mean, it's always nice to wrestle above your seeds. So
Can I read a text real quick from someone?
Who's that?
Yeah.
It's from Ann Weiss, John.
Oh.
9:39 p.m. 1 minute ago. And when you knocked off Eric Galka, comma, your mother, all capitals, cried! Exclamation point.
What?
That happened. She cries all the time. She loves to cry.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway, any other comments on the Al Smitherson?
We're free for that weekend, guys. Let us in.
Yes. Should be a good tournament next year, even if they don't kick. I mean, they've been doing pretty good about getting rid of teams that are kind of not filming.
Come on, man. Don't shit at the alma mater. I don't like that.
Not filling their rosters. I think I could see a couple candidates in there. I'm not going to mention names because that's not my. You can obviously look through the bottom half of the teams and go from there. But pretty good tournament from top to bottom. I love going there. I love our kids going to see that kind of competition. You get such a different wide variety of wrestlers, ranked kids, and it's great for all the teams there, especially some that don't get to see that kind of competition. So with that, let's try to wrap up in a couple minutes.
Let's do hot topics from the page. Go. No.
Hot topics.
National rankings. Joe, go ahead.
National rankings.
Win it. Tough tournaments like the Super 32, Fargo, Flow Nationals, things like Corn Cob Nationals, Indy Race Car Nationals, super backyard 2000 nationals. None of that stuff counts. Win big tournaments to be nationally ranked. That's my advice on that. Asa Garcia is really good. He'll probably be nationally ranked after this season if he wins another state title. I think that'd really boost his credibility. Please stop yelling at his dad. He's a nice person, and he actually puts his name on the board, and everyone knows who he is. If you don't put your name on the board, shut up. No one cares who you are. You coward.
Yeah, I agree. And I'll agree with you on that because I think that is a good point because Chris doesn't hide behind a screen name and doesn't take shots at people and not put a name to it. I think if you do that, then that's kind of cowardly. Like, I'm going to dog you and dog who you are. And I'm not saying JD Greathouse, who wrestles in Michigan, who did put his name on there, but has not, like, there's not going to be an Avon, wherever JD wrestles at now, showdown. But Ace is really good, but, like, I think that you miss the scope of how good these nationally ranked kids are. And that's why we have a very small amount. And that's why kids like Chad Red and Nick Lee and the guys that are ranked right now, but those two guys, just because they met up at the state finals, is a very few and far between for us. But we want to get to that Pennsylvania level.
You look at kids like Brayton and Joe, and no one is close to them. The closest person here is Casper, and it didn't seem like he was wrestling that hard that back. And Brayton Lee's really freaking good. He, that's his closest match to the 5-3 decision. It was dominated by. If you watch the match, domination, just held back because I'm not going to waste time to chase someone. Those kids are on such another level. It's unreal. And Brayton's not ranked number one in the country. Like, there's people that are clearly better. I've watched him lose at the Super 32 and Flow.
He's one higher today, right? Yanni D done for the year.
What'd he do this? Oh, I didn't hear about that, but okay. But yeah, we could talk off camera about that. But yeah, those guys are on such a high level to be ranked. It's crazy. And back in the day, I think I was at one point, and trust me, this is crazy. I was ranked in the country. It was really wrong. I shouldn't have been. But they did just because I went to Fargo and I got to the round to place twice. It's a little different now. There's more tournaments you can go to place at, and those are the tournaments you need to. Joe did a good job of kind of just explaining reasoning probably why Ace is not in there. I think after this season, I think if he wins the state title, he has a good chance to be thrown in there being a two-timer as a sophomore. And then as long as he goes to those tournaments, he keeps going to. He just has to fight. He has to break that. He has to get that big win against the guy and get to that placement round. Because if you don't place, you're not going to get the things. That was Brayton's biggest problem for the longest time is he couldn't place. And now he's broken that thing, and now we got to win these tournaments.
Yeah, the biggest thing that I'll comment. I listened to some of the ranking guys and I talked to them at tournaments and stuff. And the biggest thing for those things, it's your resume. And some kids have bigger resumes earlier on because of where they are in tournaments they get to go to. So, it's you're building that resume. Chad Red, luckily, was number one for 2 straight years, which is very out of the ordinary for an Indiana guy because we don't get to go to that Ironman. We saw those other tournaments, but people don't realize it's not about the head-to-head. Yes, you've beaten some of those guys. You've lost the guys that are in the rankings, but it's more of your resume of who have you beaten, how many ranked guys have you beaten, how many ranked guys have you lost to, how many unranked guys, that type of stuff. So it's just realize it's more than it's hard to get ranked as a freshman or sophomore. Unless you're placing at Fargo or Flow or those big tournaments, UW cadets, things like that.
Yes. So, think about the best guys you've seen in Indiana, and they're not ranked number one. Like Drew Hughes wasn't ranked number one, and he dominated. Like he just said, Brayton. And just to kind of curtail out that, I think Casper had some really nice success this summer too. So, like he placed in some big tournaments, and him and Brayton wrestled. That's probably gonna be Brayton's closest match, and hopefully that can be a state finals match. But you're I don't know. It's tough, and I think that people are like, I can't believe, XYZ is not ranked in the nation. It's like, yeah, it's really hard. Like Sean Streck was pretty dominant last year, and he wasn't ranked number one. He was ranked, and he did a lot of national stuff.
Yes, definitely. With
Another hot topic.
Perry Meridian. That's a mess. So we'll stick with that. That's not all we need to go.
All right. Perry Meridian. There's some issues going on there, it looks like. I hope it gets reasoned out. I think I don't know the Littells at all, but I do know and respect Coach Shutley 100%. I can't imagine there'd be anything crazy there with that. the biggest thing is I just hope it can be figured out. The biggest thing I can say is that, you know, this weight cutting stuff, it'll get to you. And I hope that a kid's not being singled out because he didn't make weight for a thing. That's a terrible thing to have happen. But I mean, sometimes kids have to do what's best for them individually. At the end of the day, this is still an individual aspect in the sport, and you have to do things for yourself at some point. At one point, I remember Josh Harper, three-timer from Mishawaka, said, I don't want to make 112 anymore. I'm going to go 119. And I said, please don't. I'm 119. Please, I'm a senior. And he said, no, I'm going to go 119. And I said, what? No. And I had to beg him a lot and say, hey, man, can you please go 119 or 112 for the tournament, and I'll do 119 for all the team stuff. And we kind of came up with a compromise so that we could have our best chance to win a team state title, but mostly so that I could have a chance to win a state title, which I blew ceremoniously, like always. But, you know, that stuff happens, and I don't know what's going on in that room, and I just hope that it can start. I hope that there can be some conversations that isn't just let's talk on a message board about it, because as much as I understand that's the point of it, some things should probably stay behind closed doors. And I don't think, and like Mr. Littell said, I don't think he's trying to say he disrespects anything. He's just saying these are the things he hears. But I hope there can be some communication between both parties and some sort of compromise or understanding can be reached, because, you know, having a kid sit out because of that just seems really upsetting. And, you know, it just sucks. You know, it's not the fun time of wrestling. It's not the fun stuff we talk about, but that stuff happens, and you, at some point, you have to do it. It's best for you as an individual.
Yep. And then that's they're a very good program, and they've been a good program for years. And they've created this depth, and they can have matches like that when any other team in the state, minus maybe I would say Avon, because they got the champ, or probably like we take both of those guys. Which one do we want to give us? We'll take that guy.
Yeah. I mean, it's a hard thing to deal with. And as a coach, you know, I'm not going to say like it's parents doing things, but like as a coach, like it's hard. Like at some point you just have to go, all right, if you make the weight, you can challenge. And if you win, you win. And that's just how it goes. And
that's the beauty of the sport. They don't, you choose your own path. Like they can't, I mean, and those guys are great coaches, and they've proved it time again. It comes down to if you win the wrestle off, you win the wrestle off.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of our sport.
And we'll see. And like I said, we don't know the whole story. We just kind of, we all got thrown on this one thing, and it's kind of spiraled today. And like I said, I know a lot of people have also said, like, I hope that there's communication going back between the coaching staff and the families involved, just so that we don't have someone, you know, feeling secluded or kept out of a team. Because that's just, I mean, at the end of the day, like, it's wrestling. It is an extracurricular activity. We all will go on and do other things with our lives. We don't need that kind of negativity in our life. And I mean, right now is the best time in Indiana to be wrestling, is to be a wrestling fan. Like, think about how cool Team State was and all the great Mooresville stuff we had. You know, to see all this negativity come out, it's a little bit sad. And I understand, like, people are like, ooh, cool, there's some spice on the message board. But, you know, I like spice on the message board that's in good fun, or people yelling at me about stuff, because I can take that stuff. It's fine. But I don't want to see a kid feel like he's getting, I'm not going to say bullied, because that's not the verbiage that's been used, but I don't want to have a kid being outcasted because he didn't want to do something or not. And that's, I don't know. It's a tough
even feel that way.
If
that's the way he feels, then, you know, hopefully his dad expressing that on a public forum, maybe they seen that and they can say, hey man, that's not what we're about. We're going to wrestle this off, and we're going to do it how it is. And they're a better team with that kid in the lineup.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that anyone can doubt that they're not a better team with Littell in the lineup. And they got the number 8 kid at 6, and they got Littell, and they got Fair, and they got Near. They're loaded, and that's just part of being a Paramarian Falcon right now, is that you got some of the best 13s in the state, and if they're both going to go for the spot, that's just how we do it.
You'll run into that point with those top level teams that there's JV kids that would be varsity at 99.9% of the other schools in the state. They just have to wait their turn. And some of those kids never do it. I know Matt Brewer mentioned Cullen from last year, who was a state qualifier. I mean, you just got to be ready to go, and you know, hopefully it works out for you, but hopefully the sport of wrestling in general will be a positive time in your life.
definitely. Just my one comment I keep trying to get in. I wouldn't want to ref that match between two high level, those kind of wrestle offs. I ref some bars, and it's one of those I'm glad I don't have to wrestle. I don't have to ref those kind of high level matches. I'd be bringing in a ref.
Yeah, it's rough on those things. I know we've had those conversations before. I know I've had those conversations with Derek when we have big matches. I'm like, hey, if this is going to be, and luckily it's never gotten to that point, but I'm like, hey, if these kids are going to challenge, I think the best solution is we get a licensed official to come in here and do it.
Yeah, I know we have officials come in for our wrestle offs. Not for kind of getting some of the wrestles off, and then for our final wrestle off, we actually have officials, and it's nice to have kids have real officials and not, some janky coach reffing.
Yeah.
Matches.
And
unless you're Avon.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you might have an advantage if you're at Avon. You might have somebody who knows a thing or two about making tough officiating calls.
Yes, but he doesn't do folk style though.
Yeah, well, no, all those matches.
Fives.
No, all those matches are wrestled in freestyle. That's how they challenge.
Okay.
Come on, they pull out the tarp, they put it over the mat,
Yes.
and then we start in parterre. No, but
Anyway, with that,
yeah,
we're going almost 2 hours technically.
Yeah, we've talked way too long, but everybody remember, it's the best time to be a part of Indiana wrestling. Love your neighbor. Go Brownsburg.
Yes, and we'll be back right next week. We have a goal on Tuesday. Maybe we'll be more frequent now that I know my season's kind of slowing down a little bit. So
my season's always slow.
Yeah, right. You're just getting a lot of hate because all your rankings are wrong.
This time, man, this set, I don't know. Maybe I mixed it up more than I normally do, but I don't usually get it like that. There's usually get a lot of nice jobs. This time it's like, why is this like this? So
can I plug something?
So much to
plug it, Nick. Go.
Holiday tournaments, those all kind of went together, and that was, that's a lot of results. And I bet there were, I could say there's probably close to 400 or 500 results input from both those, from team state all the way through. Since the last ranking update. So that's a lot of changes. So there's a lot of wins and losses and lots of oh crap, I just got to draw this rank out of a hat.
Okay, so, I'm gonna segue into something real quick. So on Sunday at 8:00, I will be doing a live stream where I literally go through the rankings and I rank them. I'm gonna rank the Evansville semi-state live on stream. I will put a link on the message board and some information, but get your stuff in by Saturday at 7:00. Saturday at 7:00, I'm going to pull that information out, and I'm going to start sorting so I can quickly look up who's beaten who, and that's what I'm going to use. There will be a chat if you want to yell at me, but that's the information I'm using. If you don't have a result of that, I'm probably not going to believe you. So 7:00 on Saturday, get results in for Evansville Semi-State. 8:00 on Sunday, I will do a live stream on my YouTube channel. I'll put that on the board. Feel free to come hang out, yell at me, whatever.
The exciting life of rankings.
Yeah, you can see what we do. It's really fun and exciting, and maybe you'll want to do it because God knows I don't want to.
Okay. Well, thank you guys, everyone. Hopefully we didn't bore you too much, and we'll be back by next week.
Nice job.
Yep, we will see everyone later.
Love you, everyone.
See ya.